Hello everyone, thanks again for joining us for today's Africa Now event. My name is Onajite Emera and I lead the startup developer ecosystem for Europe. Today we're having a panel about AI as the new electricity, talking about the challenges and opportunities faced by startups in the African ecosystem and how AI can propel and create opportunities for sustainability and scalability. I have with me two amazing women founders who are leveraging AI to change the face of healthcare and education on the continent. Jeshri and Yvonne, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Please will you take some time to introduce yourselves, let us know a little bit about your companies, the challenges that you are solving, and how you're leveraging AI to do that. We can start with you, Yvonne.
Thank you so much. So my name is Yvonne and I am the COO and co-founder of TopSet. And at TopSet, we facilitate progressive learning that produces phenomenal results through personalized learning and machine learning gamified learning app. And my background is actually a combination of tech and education, quite appropriately. So I worked as a tech consultant for several years, as well as a European edtech company. And alongside that, I was teaching maths to kids for about 15 years now, kids in Ghana, Nigeria, and also in the UK. And I've seen firsthand how personalized learning and technology can really transform a child's engagement, performance, and really ultimately their destinies.
Amazing. Thank you, Yvonne. And Jeshri, tell us a bit about your company.
Thank you, Anijite. I'm Jayashree Naidu. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Envisionate Deep AI. And we use artificial intelligence to assist doctors in medical imaging diagnosis, basically making them superhuman. My background is I'm a radiologist, and in 2010 I became the first South African trained pediatric radiologist. And to bring it into perspective, Africa is a continent where more than half the population is under the age of 15. Through my years of experience as a radiologist, I did a lot of outreach work in neighboring countries where I got to really experience the high burden of disease in Africa and realizing that just the human capacity alone cannot solve the challenges we face in Africa. And this is why I wanted to use technology to augment and multiply my role with Radify, which is our AI product.
Amazing. And can you tell us a little bit about exactly how Radify is using AI to enable doctors and augment the healthcare provision?
So Radify actually highlights and detects various pathologies on medical images. And we have a detection algorithm as well as a diagnostic algorithm. So basically it thinks like a radiologist. What it does as well is it triages the most urgent cases to the top of the list so doctors can prioritize these urgent cases and patients can be seen earlier.
Amazing. And Yvonne, can you talk about how AI is helping students to learn better through TopSet?
So we're currently developing our AI system using TensorFlow actually, and we've had some really amazing results so far. So we have two main customers, our teachers/tutors and our students, and we use AI for both of them basically. On the student side, essentially we use it to help make homework more effective. So a student, for instance, could go away from a lesson and a tutor will set them homework. This homework will be automatically marked and will be adaptive. So let's say a student has gotten homework on fractions or something like that, and maybe during the lesson they learn basic fractions, but because they're able to have an AI-powered homework, they're able to essentially come back to the lesson more informed if the homework questions are getting incrementally difficult, and vice versa. If the student is struggling, the AI will be able to pinpoint exactly where the issue is, and the tutor will be then informed to be able to tackle the exact issue, and basically superpowering tutors, as Jeshri said, like that's essentially what AI is doing for us, superpowering tutors and making them superhuman and being able to maximize the learning outcomes for each student.
That's amazing, and that's a very real point as well. Thank you, Yvonne. And just following on from that, I want to ask the same question to you, Jeshri. In healthcare, how exactly can AI make an impact? And you can speak more about Ratify as well.
Yeah. So in Africa, the healthcare services are under-resourced and overused. And we saw with the COVID pandemic how much pressure there was on the healthcare services. And it wasn't just a low, middle income community problem. It became a global problem. And so what we did was during the pandemic, we developed Ratify for COVID, and it detects COVID pneumonia. We implemented our solution at one of the hospitals in the Northern Cape, where there was just one radiologist. During the second peak of the pandemic, he actually fell ill. And so they used our model, our Ratify model, to triage patients that had COVID pneumonia.
Wow, that's amazing. And it's brilliant to see how AI can be, very deeply impactful across multiple sectors, and it can also help to scale solutions. So can you talk a little bit more from your perspective? How can AI help African startups to scale as they're looking to expand across Africa and even beyond?
Yeah, I think the real innovation is not just the latest addition or technological addition, it's actually having the human addition in artificial intelligence. So it's basically the new cyborg of today and tomorrow that's going to help us deal with the challenges, and that enables us to scale globally. So combining an algorithm with human experience, I think, can produce a much better product.
That's amazing. From your perspective, Yvonne, how can, especially for you as a startup who is implementing AI at the stage after you've already launched, how would you see AI as providing opportunities to scale for African startups?
So there's a saying that the fastest animal on this earth isn't a cheetah, but a human on a bicycle. And that's essentially how I see AI turbocharging the abilities of any startup. The way we use it is currently to turbocharge the ability of our tutors and increase the customer experience and their performance outcomes. But that can be for anyone in any industry, essentially thinking of, each startup needs to think about how they can really enhance the key players in their company and how it can basically transform the experience and just make every person more effective than they could ever imagine.
Thank you so much. And I think, that's really profound. So I want to just take this moment to get advice from you both as experienced startups in Africa. You've rolled up your sleeves and you're doing the work, getting your hands dirty. What would you say to prospective startups or existing startups like yourself who maybe initially started off and then found, the potential to use AI? How would you advise them to move forward, to take that bold step? And for you, Jeshri, you can also speak to the startups who from day one should be using AI. How would you advise them to move forward with developing their businesses on the continent? So starting with you, Yvonne.
I guess my advice for any startup, no matter what industry you're in, essentially, you need to listen to the pain points of your customers. So we started off with a personalized learning platform, and we heard our customers, and we heard our customers from both sides. So tutors essentially want to maximize their time and therefore earning potential. And we heard that because this is one of the biggest pain points, we were looking for solutions, and AI was the obvious solution for us. Similarly with the students, they didn't like their homework, it was quite boring, and tutors, when setting homework, it's on paper. There's a limit to how adaptive it can be. And students loved to have something that was more interactive and was able to adapt with how they learn and adapt with how they answer questions. So literally the inception of us integrating AI into TopSet was listening to the customers and understanding their pain points.
Awesome. Thank you, Yvonne. And Jeshri?
I agree with Yvonne. What I say is, begin with the end in mind and the end user in mind. At Envision a Deep AI, I hold two caps, being the CEO of the business and an entrepreneur, but I also hold the cap of being the end user as a radiologist. And so when our tech team develops a product, it shouldn't just be for a technology person. Just always think about the end user and giving that feedback and hearing it. So a lot of, I think our tech guys wouldn't want to hear it. But when you give that feedback, it makes the product better. And I think if it's more customer centric, as you mentioned, I think then you're going to get a better product. You're going to be able to scale, and you're going to get the buy-in from your end user. So beginning with the end in mind.
Amazing. Both of you have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've learned so much and, seen the real potential for African startups to scale. So thank you for spending this time with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
It's been a pleasure.